I like having it in here.
This week, Mostly Technical is brought to you by Larajobs, the official Laravel job board, and Hello Query, which lets you empower your customers to build your own reports. Now, here's Ian and Aaron.
A little goodbye music to get us going.
I like that intro. That is a good intro. I don't usually hear it. And we're playing it live today.
Yeah, we're doing a little technical change up here, playing the intro as part of kind of embedded in, so it's in the videos and everything too. So, hey, how's it going, man?
Good. It's good to be back. I feel like we're off to the races. Episode 1 was great, and here we are for number 2.
Yeah, we got a lot of great feedback. People seem to really like it. So it's awesome.
And you're in a new location.
I am. It's distracting me because the lighting is going weird on me here. This camera. All right.
So is this the new office? Is this the new office?
I might be
with
yellow
the dark
today.
paint?
Yes. So we have the dark. Oh, see, look, it's auto correcting the color, but it's doing it oddly. Yes. So we have the dark background. The rest is white, but the background is dark. And I don't know. I got my blue couch.
I like
over
it.
There. So I don't know. I still have a few things. I have a light set up here, and my camera is freaking out on it. So I don't know. We'll see. I might have some adjustments to do. I thought I had it all dialed in, but new location, new lighting setup. It's always something. Your lighting looks good. Do you even have a light? You don't even have a light there, do you?
I don't even have a light. I'm just literally in the corner of the bedroom at the Airbnb.
There you go. You're just basking in natural sunlight.
natural Vermont sunlight. We have friends here this week, and so they kicked me out of the bunk room that I was in, and so now I'm in our bedroom in the corner, trying to make it look like I'm not in a bedroom, which I think I succeeded at. This feels pretty normal.
It's good. Yeah, it's like you're in a loft space or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks good. All right. So we did have a couple of podcast business note here, which is that we are going to try to do some mailbags. So if you want to email in with questions or follow-up or anything like that to stuff we talk about, you could do so at mostlytechnicalpodcast@gmail.com. So hit us up there. I guess I'll link that in the show notes maybe. And then, we'll I don't know if we'll get to all of them. Most likely not if it starts to build up, but we will try to pick some cool ones each week and hit those. Okay. This lighting is distracting me. I'm
lighting's
distracted.
throwing you off, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's like totally throwing off my whole game here, but that's all right.
Okay,
we will
so
persevere.
what camera are you using?
I'm using the Logitech 4K that is specially built for the Apple, whatever the big monitor is. I have the 32-inch monitor, whatever that thing is.
And do you have external lights?
I do have external lights, but I also have natural light, and I think it's freaking the camera out, like trying to match the color. Let's try. All right, well, let's just do it live here. Let's see. All right, see if I do that. If I turn off the lights, at least
looks
it
pretty
won't
natural
color shift.
to me.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with this
like
for
the
right
right
now
color
until I get that fixed. I thought I had it dialed in, but no, I don't have it dialed in.
It's no easy process, especially when the camera's trying to compensate, and then a cloud rolls over and your whole room changes and the camera freaks out, and then it's no easy process.
What do you do for camera while we're in this here?
So at home, I have a Canon M50, which is a DSLR, and I run it through the Elgato Cam Link, so like the capture card. Yeah. Because Canon does have software, but it sucks. Like it's totally unusable. Yep. So I just run it through HDMI capture, and Elgato's software is amazing. So that's what I do, and I have a Sigma lens on it. So I have a new lens, a different lens on it, and then I do have some lights, and then I do my best to block out all natural lighing as much as I can.
I know this is going to be a problem for me because I have two big lights here, and I do have like these blinds over them, but they're not like blackout, so it's going to be mixing. I know I've been trying to resist doing the full camera setup, but I might not. Maybe I'll have to go with it. But I do have a camera I could use, a Sony camera, but I don't know. It's like then I got to mount this camera and deal with all this stuff, like the whole thing.
Go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll be forced to do it, but
Well, I look forward to you definitely doing that and definitely buying a bunch of gear, and we can talk about it. So I know exactly where this is going to end, and I'm really excited about it.
There's no choice, right? It has to end this way.
No one has ever said, "Oh, I have a Sony DSLR, and I'll maybe use it or maybe not," and ended up not using it. It's going to be great. I'm excited for you.
I know, and you can direct connect it with USB-C, but I already know like that's, like you said, it's probably like whatever. I'm gonna need the software from the Elgato or something. It's just gonna be a multi-step thing, and but then it is nice because I don't like how zoomed in I am necessarily on the way Riverside does this, and like so if I had a like lens, I could like tweak that and all those things, which would be nice. So that's probably where we're heading.
Well,
that's
I'm
right.
here
It's
to
a
help.
write-off.
So yeah, it's a write-off. They just write it off. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing you tweet a lot recently about Messi and
Messi.
what a genius he is, and if we're not watching, we're fools, and how he's changing the game. So I don't watch a lot of sports. The only sport I ever do watch is soccer, but I don't watch a lot of it. I know, weird, right?
Okay, yeah, that's.
I grew up playing soccer soccer was my entire life until I turned 18 and left for college.
Okay.
So what is the deal that he has? And did he turn down a bunch of Saudi money to come here?
Yeah. So, I mean, for people who don't know, because in America, not everybody knows, like Messi's probably the biggest soccer star, him or Ronaldo, but, and yeah, so he was leaving Europe. Saudi Arabia offered him tons of money as they're trying to get into sports. Like they just bought the PGA Tour essentially or whatever. Like they're trying to kind of scoop up these different sort of edge sports, at least from the American perspective, edge sports. And and so Messi decided to come to America. Which is great. We've been Messi fans for a long time. My son. My son's actually a little bit off of soccer the last year or so, but my middle kid, he was playing 7 days a week at one point, like super into soccer, travel team, another travel team, the whole thing. So he was super into Messi, and this when Messi was with Barcelona. And yeah, so we've just kind of followed Messi. Like we're not so much fans of a particular team, we're Messi fans essentially. And so we've been following him around. And so now he's in America, and yeah, he's just it's been a very interesting move. His deal is, I mean, he took less money, but it's still, I think, $50 million a year or something like that. Yeah. And then also, my understanding is that he also gets Apple has exclusive rights to stream Major League Soccer, and he gets a % of the new signups to Apple MLS subscription service or whatever. So, because they know he's going to be a big deal, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to be this big a deal. I have to say, he's kind of super exploded. He's everywhere. I mean, I was in New York City a week ago, and he's already got billboards in New York City. Like Hard Rock Cafe has a special sandwich for him. Like, what? He's just like he's deep in already. So, so I think he's going to make more money than he would have otherwise.
Imagine having the power to go to Apple as an athlete and be like, all right, part of my deal is you have to pay me for new signups.
Right.
Like, we're outside the team, we're outside the league. We're now talking about just he's titan of industry, and he's going to Apple and commanding a take, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is. And it's especially incredible, I think, in America to me, because he's so kind of the anti-US athlete. Like, he's just this little guy. He's like 5'6". He doesn't look imposing in any way. If he was your accountant or something, you'd be like, he's like a guy, whatever. But he's like the best soccer player ever.
I mean,
no, he's not super flashy.
On the field, he's incredible, but off the field, he's just kind of like he's kind of quiet, kind of shy, just kind of walks around. He doesn't make a scene. And that is very counter what we expect from our athletes. We expect our athletes to show up in a big way.
He's like married to his like high school sweetheart, or even before high school, I think, because he left Argentina when he was like 12 or something to go to Spain. I think they might have already been together kind of then, or knew each other then. So Yeah, he's like just kind of a normal-ish guy. I mean, I'm sure he's obviously incredibly wealthy and all those things, but at least on the surface, he seems kind of normal. So, but yeah, definitely not like you're a baseball player or a football player or a basketball player where they're always massive and, you know, flashy and all that stuff. So, yeah, and even on the field, he's kind of like laid back, even compared to other players. He walks a lot and
he walks a ton.
Yeah. So,
and he never dives. He never like screams.
Yeah.
He just kind of takes it and then wins, which is awesome. I love that about him.
It is crazy that like, I mean, partially he's Messi, so I guess he can just get away with doing what he wants, right? But like, I don't know, maybe there's something to playing the way he plays. Like, I don't know, maybe conserving your energy for those explosive moments has, you know, its advantages and things. But so yeah, Messi, I mean, I don't know. So he's been on this run where he joined during this cup, which is like a tournament. And yeah, he's won 5 games in a row, I think, and he's got like 8 goals in the 5 games. He's had the very first game, he had the game-winning penalty kick goal and like or a foul kick goal. So yeah, it's just been super. Every match has been really exciting. So yeah, it's great. I think people should definitely check it out. It's like $12 to like subscribe to Apple Soccer streaming thing for a month. Tuesday night they're playing. But yeah, it's just so great. But
they came through Dallas recently, and obviously I'm not there, but I have some friends who are there who looked at tickets, and the tickets shot up to like it was like $450 a ticket, and it's like I don't think FC Dallas. I don't even know if that's what we're called anymore. I think that's what we're called. I don't know if FC Dallas has sold out a game ever, and now tickets are $450 just to get in the door. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, these tickets are like $20 or whatever, you know, at most of these stadiums, and then they're all going for like $250 to $550 depending on the city, and
here's my hope for Messi. My hope for Messi, for him in particular, is just that he gets fabulously wealthy and has a lot of fun being, you know, an American. But my hope is that he takes the MLS. And like it's a retirement league now, right? It's where Wayne Rooney and all the guys come over here and spend the last 5 years getting paid and having fun and just, you know, stomping all over the American players. I hope that it like renews interest in soccer and takes the MLS up a notch from the retirement league to like eventually will be competitive. I know it's a long shot, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's my hope too. I mean, I think it would be really cool to have it be closer to home. It's hard to watch the European games sometimes because the times are weird and stuff, and it's just like not in your daily routine. Whereas if it was like here, it would be just whatever you see it on the news or whatever, you just be hearing about it. People you know would be talking about it and stuff. So yeah, that's my hope too, is that he kind of just gets more people interested in it. It's so bizarre because America, I mean, so many kids play soccer. Like it's a huge kids sport, but then I don't know, it just doesn't translate into the major leagues as much. There's just not as much interest when people get older. I guess a lot of the best Americans probably go to Europe kind of as the first stop, since that's sort of the premier destination. But I mean, you would think if you can get the money rolling in on the American side and, you know, then get some talent. I mean, I'm sure obviously everybody's paying attention and seeing what he's doing and being like, oh, if I could be the star of one of these teams, that's, you know, get that recognition and everything. So, but yeah, it's super fun. And if you've never watched soccer, I mean, it's so much different than American sports too, just because it's like, boom, an hour and 40 minutes, it's done. Like, there's no, like, it's not 3.5 hours.
The clock never stops.
Commercials.
It just keeps rolling.
You got like a 10-minute halftime, and that's it. Like otherwise, it's just all going the whole time, no commercial breaks or anything like that. So it's nice that way too, because it's like, oh yeah, it's like an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes. It's not my whole day. I don't have to dedicate like a 5-hour block to watching it. Like it's like, nope, I can just watch it and be entertained, and then move on to the next thing. So this point in my life, that's kind of nice too, because finding 4-hour blocks is tricky. So we can do.
You're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so you gotta watch Tuesday night then.
Yeah, watch Tuesday night. And the last thing I'll say on soccer before we lose everyone is I'm really bummed that the Women's World Cup is in Australia. I think it's Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
It's just like it's impossible to watch. Also, we got eliminated early, which is embarrassing. But I tried to watch, some of the games, and it was like 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do here? So that sucked.
And then sports is one of those things that still just I can't watch it. I have to watch it live. Like I just have to watch it live. Like I cannot watch it.
No.
Tape recorded in old person speak or in any kind of like replay later. I need to watch it live. So
yeah,
that's a bummer. But next World Cup, men's World Cup is in America. I don't know.
I know.
I think the women's. I don't think the women's is. I don't know how the women's works. So. But
yeah, I think it's all across North America, and I think Dallas Fort Worth is getting one because we've got Jerry World. We've got the Cowboys Stadium down there. So, that would be incredible.
Yeah,
I would
you're gonna
love to go to a game.
Right?
Yeah,
and your two of your kids will be old enough by then to get something out of it.
Then what year is it? Is it 2024 or 26?
No, it would just happen. So it was, but that was delayed from 22, right? So I think it's 26.
26.
Yeah, I think it's 26.
Oh, that'll be perfect for the kids. They'll be 5 or whatever.
Yeah, that'll be great. They'll get a kick out of that.
Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be fun. All right, well, now that we've lost all of our listeners, we can talk about anything we want.
That first one was so good. What happened on the second one? They totally lost.
They went into a sports podcast. Yeah, mostly sports.
All right, let's talk about your awards. You received an award. I don't know what you call it.
I don't know. I am now an Oracle Ace Pro. So it's like I think it's like you know how AWS has like their AWS Heroes, and it's like recognizing members of the community who do a thing. And so there's a guy called Frederick who is like the Oracle MySQL community manager. And he reached out to me a little while back and was like, "Hey, I nominated you to be an Oracle Ace Pro." I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, I don't know what that is. Tell me more.
Yeah.
And it's just like a program where there's like some, there's some swag, of course. So I got to submit, my T-shirt size so I can get all my Oracle swag.
I like that.
Yep. And then they do stuff at different conferences. They'll have like an Ace Pro, discount or setup at the conference, that kind of stuff. But really, it's just a way to be like, hey, you're a member of this community, and we want to recognize your work. And it's really cool for me because I got my degree and I'm like an accounting major, and now this database company of database companies is like, hey, you're really good at this. It's like, oh, maybe I am good at this. So that felt really cool, and it's
so cool.
It's one of those things where it's like I don't really have to do anything except keep doing what I'm already doing, and then like tell them like, hey, I wrote an article about MySQL. I'm like, great, here's credit towards your Ace Pro account or whatever it is. You have to keep up a certain amount of points or whatever, and
just to keep like the status,
just to keep the status. And I assume that like if I were in a different, like if I were pursuing a different type of career, I would imagine that this would be like, I would plaster this all over my LinkedIn. I would have like Ace Pro member Aaron Francis. Right. But it's like, for me, it's just kind of, oh, that's really nice of them, but it doesn't really change, my professional, my plans or my outlook or anything.
Yeah.
But it feels cool. Who doesn't love winning stuff? I love winning stuff.
It's funny, if you had it before you did the screencast of the MySQL stuff, then you could have that would have been cool to have before and be like, hey, I'm an Oracle Ace Pro.
I'm an Oracle Ace Pro, yeah.
Doing this course, like that would have been cool. But
exactly. I'm doing an addendum to the course, and so maybe I'll start with that in the first as my intro. Oracle Ace Pro, Aaron Francis, yeah. So
what's the addendum?
The addendum is going to be on sharding MySQL. So when you get to the big time levels and you have to put your data across multiple databases, what's the theory behind it? What are the different ways to do it? What is, do you do it application side or database side? What are the drawbacks? That kind of stuff. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so it'll be a little bit more advanced because the first course I did was kind of intro, like for developers. And this will be, which is really, really good for Planet Scale because it's super like top of the funnel. Everyone can do it and learn and become aware of Planet Scale. This is more from a Planet Scale point of view, a little bit further down the funnel. It's like, if you're learning about sharding and you need to shard your data, you probably should just come to us and like we can help you do that. So that's the theory here, is it's like we'll teach a little bit more advanced and have fewer people take it, but hopefully a higher number of those people be like, I'm just going to bail and go with Planet Scale.
Well, there is some interesting stuff with sharding too, because I mean, where even just the run-of-the-mill dev probably should at least be aware of it, in that, like one of the things we're going to do for HelpSpot. So HelpSpot currently, so I don't think we talked about HelpSpot on here yet, but it's like my help desk application, which is our main product, and so it started as on-premise, so everybody just installed it wherever, and then over the years we have cloud version, but it's like a cloud version where we just spin up servers for you and install HelpSpot on it, because that was the easiest way to do it. And we're going to be rebuilding it. And so we were thinking about the different ways to kind of go about that. And it's going to end up being, the new version will be just a fully, like an actual cloud-based service. And so there'll still be, well, I'm not going to get into all that. But anyway, that'll be, we'll talk about that someday. But anyway, we think about the sharding aspect of it, and we've actually had a lot of success with doing it how we actually do it now, which is per tenant databases. So even though we use one database server, but every customer gets their own database on the database server. And so I do think that's like a method that people don't even think about, and they just default to like having tenant IDs and having one monster database. But it does get quite a bit more complicated when, obviously, as you're going to talk about in this course, I presume, when you get to 1 billion rows and you need to start spreading things out across more servers, then, it has its own complications. Whereas the per tenant databases, in some ways, I like better, because it's like I could have a big customer on their own database server even, or I could separate all these out, or if I need more database server capacity, I just add a new database server, and now I start putting new accounts over there. And so there are definite downsides, like you will need to do a migration, and now how do you do that across a bunch of different databases? The database server doesn't necessarily like having lots of tables, which just creates lots of tables. So there are different pluses and minuses, but yeah, I think having a course that kind of goes through the different styles, just so that people are even aware of them, is kind of interesting, since nowadays people just default to like, well, I have to put tenant IDs on every table and go that route. So there are actually other options out there.
So available. Where do you do your, is it on Laravel? It's on Laravel latest, right? Or
what is that? The HelpSpot?
Yeah.
It's on Laravel,
because it's 18 years old now, so I don't know which parts
it's
are
a
Laravel,
hybrid. It's not all Laravel for sure. It's like there is now Laravel, but it's like not really using Laravel's routing. It's not really using, like, a lot of the functions are still from like function libraries and things from 18 years ago, and we're just calling those functions and things still. So there's still a lot of old stuff in there.
Where do you do your tenant switching, or like your tenant pinning? How do you set
so in the
people
current
to the right
HelpSpot,
database?
We create a new account, they actually spin up a small AWS T3 server, and then on that server, all the like secrets are obviously put on there, and every customer gets their own database and database user. So it's all just, it's like you're deploying a little app for yourself. There's not anything too magical going on. It's just that those are written into the environment file when we create the account, and then it just goes from there.
Okay.
And then we actually do a DNS entry for them on Cloudflare, and so they get like an actual a record type DNS entry for the account passed through Cloudflare, so it doesn't has the Cloudflare magic in front of it, but yeah, so it's like creating.
That's pretty cool. Y'all are doing a lot of infrastructure automation there. If that's what you're doing for every customer.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, which is pretty cool, because I mean, to bring it from, again, it was like a only on-premise app, and to like refactor it into like a normal SaaS app has been a huge undertaking, which we've started and failed at a few times because of me and changing priorities, but. But anyway, so it does do that. I mean, one of the big downsides of that is it does take like a few minutes to start up a trial, so that part's pretty annoying.
Oh yeah.
But for HelpSpot, the type of app it is, not a huge deal either, because like nobody's like buying it or not buying it based on that. It's just not that kind of thing. Like, you know, we do demos. It's more of an enterprisey sales process. So, you know, oftentimes they're checking out 6 or 7 different tools, and there might be 3 or 4 or 10 people involved in picking it. So, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of infrastructure automation. It's all automated, and with like Ansible. And I don't know. This is not my end of the world, so I don't know the deep details on it all. But yeah, maybe Chris Verdow set it up initially, and then Matt Stenson, who works here now, is in charge of that stuff. And yeah, they do a great job. Which has some, that's a whole nother infrastructure thing that's quite interesting. Again, nobody ever thinks to do that. It's like, well, I'm just going to have front end servers and, you know, kind of standard SaaS setup, which we're, like I said, going to be moving to because it is overall nicer. But there are these advantages of doing it our way, which is that, like, if a customer goes, like, one customer can go down and nobody else is down.
Yeah,
like if
really
somebody does something horrible and, you know, wrecks their server, then that's unfortunate, and like that one customer's down, but everybody else is totally fine. Like there's no impact on anybody else. And so we still have the database server as a single point of failure, although you know, there are some controls in MySQL that you have set up for like per user caps and things, so even that has some protections from like a bad user. And then yeah, and then we use RDS, so it has the hot failover multi, I forget what they call it, but the multi-zone RDS, so it's always a hot backup. But yeah, so that is kind of a nice aspect to it. It's like your whole system's not down if one customer goes wild.
You just got to know a lot about servers, man. And that's
yeah,
why,
it's a lot of server stuff.
Like,
a lot of server stuff.
I don't have a, you know, Chris Verdow or Matt working for me, so
and hundreds of servers, you know. So there's just like when there's an update or something, or like Ubuntu has a new update, so Matt's been like taking him like a month to slowly roll out this like the new LTS update to everybody. So, you know, there's stuff like that that's not the most fun.
No, I don't think so. I'll stick to my Vapor, thank you.
Right, yes, Vapor. I haven't built anything on Vapor yet. I'd like to build something on Vapor here at some point.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think its sweet spot is, you know, of course, Jack Ellis has Fathom on it, and they're running, you know, billions of requests through it. But for me, I feel like the sweet spot is for doing little projects, because you don't have to have some server that you babysit, and you don't have to worry about coming back a year later and being like, what? I need to do what updates to what?
Right.
And you just kind of like, yeah, it just runs, and if, you know, nothing's coming through, it just, you know, turns off.
Shuts down, yeah.
So I really like it, and the fact that you can just like set it up and hit deploy and go is pretty freaking nice. So
yeah, the variable sort of usage is really nice too, because like, I mean, even in HelpSpot, there's like, we have a very like standard usage profile. It's like very B2B app, like middle of the week it's high, and then like, you know, by like 7 or 8 at night it's like way down, and then the weekends it's way down. So we are paying for tons of capacity that we don't use, you know, on a Saturday or whatever, where we don't even need it. So have you played with the MySQL auto scaling stuff in that Vapor's connected to, or?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, and I don't really know anything about it, actually.
Yeah, AWS has I think it's Aurora, but
oh yeah,
so it can auto scale up with demand, but I don't know. Kind of scary.
there are some opinions about Aurora internally at Planet Scale, which I will refrain from airing out in public. But no, I've
never used it.
I have not played with it.
Yeah, okay. So this is not on our schedule here, but you're an accounting major and I'm an accounting major. So I don't know if
are you an accounting
you
major?
were aware of that. Yes, I wanted to make you aware of that, so you knew we were brothers here.
Oh my gosh! Wait,
but
did
I was
you ever
never
practice?
No, I was never an accountant. I just have an accounting degree.
No way.
Then I was like, I don't want to do this. Forget
Well,
this.
you made the decision. You made the decision 1 year earlier than I did. So I spent a
Okay.
year at Ernst & Young doing people's taxes, and I was like,
Yeah.
F this. No way.
Yeah. That's right.
That
I
is
got my
wild.
Yeah, I got a job at the NASDAQ in New York City, and I was going to have to, I was going to be some internal accounting flunky. And this is like in, I don't know, 2000 or whatever it was. And yeah, I was like going to pay like $32,000 a year. And I was going to have to live in New York City on $2,000 a year, which even back then was like impossible. I was like,
Yeah.
well, after my rent and I eat, I'm like negative $500 a month.
Oh my gosh.
And then like I'm in New York City, I'm gonna want to do stuff,
Right.
and so I was like, forget it. So I didn't take the job. Then I went this whole different route and learned the program and all that stuff. But
Did you love accounting in school?
no, but I did like the accounting courses in the sense of like I thought they were more interesting than the pure business courses because
Yeah.
it's like you've got the different angle on it and stuff. Like I didn't like accounting even then. I was like, I had no interest in this debits and credits and doing this stuff. Like I don't really want to do this.
I loved it. I loved
Oh,
it.
really?
So
See, I didn't like that part of it, but I
Yes.
liked the like business analysis part because then we'd have these like projects that were like analyze this business and its financials and stuff. Like that part was cool, but the like actually grinding out the debits and credits or the taxes, I wasn't too keen on that. So you
man,
loved
that
it
was
in school
my
though?
jam. Yeah, I
Okay.
loved it so much. The debits and credits was just like, I think it scratched the same part of my brain that programming does.
Oh, for
where
sure.
it's like, there's a solution. You can get there. You can get there a few different ways, but you will know at the end if you did it correctly because it should balance out. It's
Right.
like, oh, this makes sense. It felt like a puzzle to me. And
Yeah.
then even more so when I got into my like graduate level stuff and doing the tax part, the taxes was just another layer on top of debits and credits. It's like here's a bunch of rules and here's a bunch of things that happened, a bunch of transactions. Figure out what the answer is. It's like, I can do this. This sounds great. I love this. And then you get to the big firm and you're the lowest man on the totem pole and it's like, put these numbers from this form onto this form.
Right.
Oh, dude, this is miserable. And so I waited long enough to receive my CPA exam bonus, and they couldn't take it back from me. And then I pieced out. I was like, I'm out of here.
Do you have your master's?
I do, yeah, master's,
Okay.
and I think
Nice.
I recently let it expire, but I have my CPA license as well.
You're totally official. That's awesome. Yeah, I just
I
did
did
my
the whole
bachelor's. That's
thing.
it. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought it was a lot like programming. This used to be my shtick when I was still applying for jobs before I started Userscape. Was just that like accounting is very like programming in that you just basically have to kind of know the high level. To me, it's like I know that there are some rules around this thing. Like I see this thing and I know there's something to it. And there's rules around it. And then I can go look up the rules. Like I
Yes.
could go look up the taxes, regulations specifically, just like I can go into Laravel docs and look up the actual function call, right, for how to do something. It's more just about that what can be done and have that vision of everything going on. And then the actual details, and even in accounting now, the actual details, like the computer's doing the details for you, right? So like, so yeah, you could kind of get the details, but it's just being aware of what's possible. And that accounting and programming are a lot alike to me in that way. But
The first screencasting series I ever did is teaching financial accounting to sophomores at Texas A&M.
oh
And
wow,
it's like a big tutoring
I think
thing.
I saw that. You tweeted a
Yeah.
piece of that somewhere at one point,
Yeah,
right?
it's a big tutoring course that like goes through the syllabus and just teaches them everything they need to know about financial accounting and basically everything you need to know to do well in the class and pass your tests and everything. And I did that probably in 2016, and I just like set it up and recorded all these videos and put it behind a $39 paywall. And over the years, like I haven't really touched it. In fact, right now it's free because there's a technical thing, and I was just like, I'm just gonna make it free. I can't figure it out right now.
Yeah.
But it's made over $100,000 in
Wow.
the past like 6 years total. So it doesn't,
amazing.
each year doesn't make a ton of money, but it's like, that is awesome. I did a thing one time and it, continues to pay me.
the best. It's the dream.
It's the best. That's what I've been chasing that high ever since.
See, that's where the courses and things like that, the pure, like a SaaS is not exactly the same as that. Like that's what everybody presents it as, but it's really not, because there's just always stuff. Like there's always some of the browsers change something, the server changed something. Customers want this new feature. AI shows up, and now you have to add features for it, or this thing shows up. So there's always like people with demands and things going on. See, I always like the idea of a course, even though I've never wanted to actually build one. It's like, oh, I put it out there. It's like being a musician. Like I do this song, and now I just get paid forever and ever by it. Like I don't have to do anything else to it. It just exists, and I just keep making money. And so obviously the amount of money you can make with a course isn't as much as it's software, but at the same time, there is something nice about that.
There's something nice about the finality.
You're done.
Like
yes,
you completed it.
I love the idea of being done. Yes.
Yes.
I want to complete something someday. I feel like I haven't completed anything in 20 years.
Well, yeah, you've been working 18 years on the same thing. I guess that would make sense.
Still going.
And you're still in the code. I'm watching. I don't know if this is. I don't know what this is for, but I'm seeing you working on Volt. So what are you doing? What are you getting your hands dirty with?
Yeah, Volt I was playing with over the weekend here. This was on Larajobs, actually. Okay. So not quite 18 years old, but still Larajobs is actually 10 years old. So
wow.
It's been around a while already. So
I did not know it was that old. That's crazy.
Yeah. So we started that pretty early. It was like right after Taylor left Userscape. I think or maybe even before just before he left Userscape, we did it. And so it's been around a while. But yeah, so I'm in the middle of rebuilding it. I'll have some cool stuff to share about that actually in a couple weeks probably. But yeah, rebuilding it, changing a few things about how it works. Got some couple of AI sprinkles in there, a couple little things. Yeah. So anyway, so Volt. I was like, all right, this is a perfect opportunity. I can use Volt. And it's so nice. Like I always love Livewire in general, but like going between the files is always a little bit annoying.
Give us the pitch. What is Volt first of all, and then give us your what you like about it.
I mean, I'm definitely no expert yet, but
that's all right. We're on a podcast. We're experts about everything. You just say whatever you want.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's single page Livewire files, right? Like that's the kind of core idea here is that you got your Livewire logic. Alongside your actual Blade template all in one file, and so it's just one place to deal with it, and it's great. It's so nice. It's just like it's all right there. I actually thought it supports both using the class-based Livewire, kind of regular traditional Livewire classes, and then you can also have this functional style, which I didn't think I'd necessarily go the functional style route, but then I did it first as class, and I was like, I think this would actually be like cleaner for what I was doing in the functional style, so I switched to functional style, and it's awesome. It's basically React, but in PHP. So there you go. It's especially if you're using the functional style.
I'm now triggered.
It's like,
yeah, thank you.
You
said it.
It's basically React, and it's great.
I was gonna say it's basically Vue single file components.
Yeah, so it is similar to that.
That's what it feels like to me. So we'll each have our own perspectives. I'm not gonna call it React.
I don't know how
I wouldn't diminish it by calling it React.
Yeah, but Vue does Vue have like I don't know, the way you like set the states in Volt is like exactly like React. I don't know if Vue's is like that. It's been a long time since I did Vue, so I feel like it was a little different than that.
So in Volt you have like the state function where you pass in, the name and the initial state, whatever. Traditionally in Vue with the options API, you wouldn't have like that functional kind of pattern, but in the what's the other one called? Options versus like component API maybe, whatever the new Vue 3 API is, it is very much like that. You have the script setup tag, and you have to declare certain variables like reactive, and you pass in their initial state and that sort of thing. Which I don't like. I like the options API where you can just say, here's my data, you do with it whatever you want. But me bashing React is for another day. Keep telling me about Volt.
I'm not an expert in that either, so who knows? But yeah, I haven't done Vue in a really long time, and I haven't used Vue 3 at all, so I don't know anything about the latest Vue stuff. But yeah, Volt's great. I mean, it's just like I haven't even used it. Sort of. I haven't done anything too complicated with it yet. I will be more so this week because I'm going to do the part of Lara Jobs where you actually like create the job. So I haven't actually done that like form yet, and it like will show you like, you know, as you're building it, like the preview and stuff. Which, I mean, it's not like rocket science here, but it's like, you know, it's going to be a little more using the reactivity and different things like that. But even like just for like I feel like it's just so much more logical even for like full page components. I haven't really used the full page like Livewire components much. I haven't used them that way. But with this, I'm like, oh, I'll just put it all together. That makes sense. And I just was able to do state and have some like database queries right in there and just like populate the like initial list of jobs and stuff. And it's just like, boom, I don't need a controller and all that stuff for this you know, super simple setup here. And Livewire works great for it. And now with this, it's like all one spot. So yeah, it was just like really great. There's this whole philosophical thing that I have a very big.
This is what I want. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, let's get to the philosophy. Yeah. So everybody can go read the docs on Volt. Right? Volt is great. Go check it out. But I feel like I have the chip on my shoulder because for me, forever. So initially, like old school PHP.
Dig it
like,
up, Ian. Dig it up.
I'm gonna dump here. Old school PHP, right, is just. Like literally you'd have like a handful of files and there'd be like a million functions in them, right? You'd have like a function library because it was all like based on C and things like that. You had a lot of coders coming from that, and like that's how things were done there. So it's like, okay, I have like this function library and it's got a million functions in it that do whatever. And so you had a lot of like a single file that had a lot of logic in it. And then obviously it went to like that's super bad. Everything has to be its own file. You can like every line has to be its own file, right? And that all has to be separated. Like that's like where we were at one point.
So mad.
Oh, it's true. That's where we were. And then this is also getting at what I like about React, because like React with TypeScript, they're like, you just put all the stuff in the one file. You got the includes, and you set the interface, just build it right there, and then like, you know, make these function calls, and you do function calls for the state, and you got all this stuff, and then hey, let's just dump the template into some JavaScript here. Let's do that, right? And so like it's all right in there. And then this is what this is, right? It's like, oh, you used to have these two files, but now we don't have two files. Now we have one file. And I'm like, yes, one file. Give it to me, baby. Give me the one file.
This has tremendous get off my lawn energy, just so you know.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. It's
I've
just
been
like
telling you kids, this is the way we're supposed to do it.
It just, everything just comes back around. It's like, oh, if you just wait long. This is like, I have this whole other business philosophy, but like, just outlasting people in all sorts of worlds is a totally effective strategy. And it's like, that's what we're seeing here. It's like, oh, I'll just keep waiting. And then eventually people will come back around to like the obvious way to do it, which was like the things that go together should just be in one file. And then like, there we go, we're here. And it's so nice. I love it.
Yep. Oh man, I'm glad you got that off your chest. I love that.
I'm
That's
good.
what I'm here for.
Yeah,
I want the takes. That's what I'm here for.
That's a hot take for you.
That is a hot take. I love that energy. Yeah, I mean, I get it. When I saw, I think it was React server components, it was like, oh, you write your server stuff and your client stuff all in this one file, and I had a visceral reaction to it.
Right.
And then I saw Volt, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is pretty good. I like this. This is very nice. Well done. Well done, us. Good job. Yeah, good job, Laravel.
It's unfortunate like PHP can't support, like you have the closing tag in there, which is like a little bit annoying, right? But I don't think there's really much they could do about that. But anyway, yeah, it's still I really like it. I don't know, you said you haven't used it yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I've never built anything big or even medium with Livewire. I built a planet scale demo a while back with Livewire 2. But it was just like a one-pager kind of thing with some live updates and some interactivity, and that part was wonderful. Just fire up PHP and you have live updating and stuff, and there's no. I don't think in that one I had any npm install whatsoever, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never built a full-on proper Livewire application yet.
Yeah, it's so good for those things like that use case though. It's just like where you want to make something like raise the bar on a simple little app or whatever without like getting into Vue or React and building that whole stack out and the inevitable weirdness that will happen or whatever. It's just like, nope, I can just stay in PHP land, but things will still magically react and be fast and all those things that people want nowadays. Yeah, it's super. We've done a bunch of stuff with it for especially stuff like that where it's small apps. I always use it, and then like our store system for HelpSpot uses a lot of Livewire, and yeah, so Lara Jobs uses Livewire.
Lara Jobs is Livewire already.
Yeah, in certain parts, it's more like sprinkled in. The new one, it'll be like Livewire everywhere. The current one, it's like the form where you create a job is Livewire, and there's like a few other little things with it that have maybe like there's like a consultants area that like has filtering and stuff. I'm pretty sure that's Livewire. So yeah, it's really, really so nice. Just it is. There's a lot of magic going on, which is you're like, whoa, how is this even doing this?
Is it? Do you know? Is it like underneath the hood? Is it hooking into like the Blade compile time, and it's like making proper Livewire classes and just kind of like it's syntactic sugar? Do you have any idea?
No, I think it's more than that. It's not just sugar, but I don't know how it is hooking into everywhere, and it's definitely using a lot of like internal to Laravel things that normal people shouldn't touch.
Right.
But Caleb's works with Taylor on it, so I think it's he's not doing using it. It's not going to just break if Taylor changes something because Taylor's in the loop on what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of magic in how it like then aggregates things to go back over the wire, and it manages the state across the wire and all that stuff. So there definitely is rehydrating stuff on the other end. So yeah, there's also a lot of crazy magic where it like stores. I don't know how it does this. Like,
yeah, Livewire in general, it stores all that serialized stuff on the front.
Well, and even just your middleware, like whatever the middleware the route served, like it serves the Livewire over that same middleware and stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, even with Volt, I don't know if they're breaking it up along the way somewhere and like caching the broken up files, or if they're like executing them together. I have no idea how that would work. I assume there is some step where it like pulls the blade out and then
I would think it
renders it, right? But
yeah, because when Blade, like when they take Blade and turn it into like your proper views and stuff, they compile it all and they get rid of all the if and turn it into PHP statements. I would imagine at that point that's where Volt hooks in, and they do something that turns it into, I would guess it would turn it into like traditional Livewire. And so I don't know.
I guess I don't know.
It's very cool and it's very good, and I'm hoping it gets some of the Laravel curious people to move over, because it does feel very familiar. Like you were saying, it feels very familiar to a React or a Vue app where you
and then if you do everything
in one file.
If you do everything as full page components too, it's like you don't even have to deal with like. There's like less of the Laravel other parts in some ways. Like it's just like whatever. I just like route Volt this thing, or I think that's what it is, or Volt route Volt, whatever it is, and then just pass in the component. So you can pretty much stay like in Livewire land for the most part. But that's something I was thinking about the other day that you just brought up that I just don't ever have time to do this, but I would love to, like, just source dive into like some of these things like Livewire or even Laravel, like, and dig around and see how stuff works. Like I just never have time to do that, but I don't know, have you done a lot of that, like digging around in the actual source?
It's a freaking blast. Yes.
Yeah.
So I've the deepest I've dug around is obviously Eloquent and the base builder. I've dug super far into that for a couple of different things. One was before I worked at Planet Scale, I wrote a single store driver for Laravel, and so I had to dig in to figure out how do I write a database driver, and how do I compile Eloquent down to the right syntax that single store expects. And as you would imagine, it's just elegant all the way through, and it's just so good. And that was a ton of fun, trying to figure out like I think the fun part for me about programming is when you get super off the beaten path like this, and like the docs aren't going to help you here. Like
Right.
this is not documented, and so you're like you're just command clicking all the way down to like figure out where does this call this and what happens here, and trying to figure out where do I hook in that I can do the least amount of work possible, and so I can just like inject my stuff at the right point, and I don't have to reinvent. Like I don't have to reinvent the whole wheel.
Right.
So that was fun for the single store driver, and then for the deepest I dug into the rendering engine was when I was writing all the Torchlight adapters, which is syntax highlighting. And so at that point, I'm hooking into the Blade compile time and trying like injecting placeholders at one part of the compile time, and then looking for those placeholders at the last part of the compile. And it's like, that was really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you ever have a reason to source dive, do it, because it's all great. It looks amazing down there.
It's beautiful there under the water.
It's beautiful, yeah. And it's so like there are an unbelievable amount of hooks that you can like you can get your claws in and do all kinds of fun stuff. And that's what, speaking of rants, that's one thing I don't understand. I'll look on Twitter or on like the Laracast forums, and people are like, how do you do this? It's not in the documentation. I'm like, go look. just go look and see what's down there.
Right. There's comments on everything.
There's comments on everything. You can just go look. Like, you have all of the source available.
Yeah.
Just go look and see what happens. The worst questions are like, what happens if you pass this to this? And I'm like, just try it. I don't know. You figure it out. So I think part of it is being self-taught. That's how I had to learn everything. Was just go look, and it's just it's so fun for me to go down there and look around.
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, just with Volt, I found something. I tweeted about it too, which is like in the docs when you call state, it just all the examples it passes an array of variables, and I was like, I kind of hate the array of variables. Like, it's just annoying. Like, it's not very React. Like, I want to call state a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So I looked in there. I source dove actually in that case. I was like, oh yeah, this looks like I can do that. And then I did it, and it worked. And it was all magical. And it's like, look it. And
don't you feel so empowered? Don't you feel amazing?
I did feel amazing. And then, of course, Taylor's like, I did that on purpose. I'm like, I know you did.
Of course you did. I see you. Yeah, the array, hate the array. So did you pass in a named argument, or did you pass in a string, comma, and then the value?
Did string, comma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought I saw on stage, and I think it's later been confirmed, but like I said, I haven't played with it. I think you can pass in a named argument. Isn't that wild? I know. I always forget about named arguments because like it's just such a. I've been waiting literally over 20 years for named arguments, and like with especially again in older style code, you have like a function and it has like 7 things being passed into it, and it's like, boy, I wish I could just have the named argument instead of all these nulls or whatever. But so I don't know. It doesn't. It's one of those things that has not like stuck in my brain from modern PHP. But me either.
As soon as we get off, I'm going to try that because that's going to be amazing. See if
you can pass in, foo colon and then the value and see if that works. I think it does.
That's like
my understanding. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that sounds like a thing Taylor would have. Yeah, that's some magic that they want to have there. That should be in the docs because that's like magical wonderfulness right there.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. Because it's not in the docs, you get to have a great tweet about it. That's the benefit.
True. That's better.
Yeah, that's better. That's better for us. That's all that matters.
My tweet becomes the definitive documentation on it. Yeah, I like that.
Here's how it's gonna go down. We're gonna get off this call. You're gonna see that it works. You're gonna put out a banger tweet, and then somebody else will open a PR to the docs. And like everybody's happy. You didn't have to do the work. You got a bunch of likes on Twitter.
PR the docs. I should PR the docs. That's
you
true.
Should. But
put out the
tweet first.
Yeah, do the tweet first.
Yeah.
I don't know. Docs is like Taylor's so good at the docs. It's like, how can I improve Taylor's docs?
Yeah,
it feels impossible. I can't.
I'll just tweet about it and I'll let him notice that it's not in the docs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of one of those weird things too, where like you wouldn't have like a section of the docs for it probably, but it's like maybe it should just be sprinkled through different examples. But then if you do the examples differently, maybe that's confusing. Like, so maybe having it always be the same is better. It's like it is kind of a weird thing in that way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about my tweet for it. I'll tell you that if it works.
I'm excited to see it. Yeah. I can't wait. I'll see how you workshop this and see what code screenshot tool you use and
spend the rest of the afternoon. Code. So I'm not big on the. I should do this one. I'll do it right. I'll do code screenshot tool. Now, what do you use for your code screenshots?
I use ShowCode.app.
ShowCode. Okay.
And that is built by a fellow community member. I think Steve. Bauman is his name. I think that's right.
Put that up so I have it. Okay,
but it's very good. Yeah, all kinds of.
Wow, it's all fancy.
It is all kinds of languages and themes and backgrounds and it's a full on app. It's very, very good.
ShowCode.app. Go check that out, everybody. That's
good job, Steve.
Awesome. I've not seen that before. That's really great. Yeah, because I'm always like, I knew there had to be some awesome tool. Because I'm like, well, everybody's not doing this if it takes any work at all. So, there's got to be some awesome tool to do it, and there it is. Yeah. Oh man, now I'm even more excited. This will be my first really nicely styled code tweet here.
This is gonna be great. Philo's gonna retweet it. Caleb's gonna retweet it. It's gonna go great. I'm calling it now. This is gonna be a good one.
You're gonna get credit. You're the one who told me about it.
Hey, well, you're the one that tweets it, and to the tweeter go the spoils. So.
That is true. That's the honor code. Yeah, honor code of Twitter.
I could scoop you, but now that it's on record as you're going to tweet it, I'm not going to scoop you. So also, we still don't even know if it's true. I think it's
true. It's going to be such a bummer. Our first somebody we're gonna have like 10 follow-up emails. Be like, you can't actually do that.
I tried to do this and it doesn't work. Well, I have no idea if it works. So that makes sense.
It should work. If it's possible for it to work, maybe now we'll have to do a PR to make it work.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do an actual.
So what just turned in, it was a 30-minute tweet session, now turns into like a 2.5-day hacking session so that you can make a PR. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this is why you're doing it. I absolve myself of all of this risk. I'm just an ideas guy. I don't do anything. I just have ideas.
So good. I love ideas, guys. It's my favorite.
I would love to be just an ideas guy. That would be awesome.
Someday. It's the dream.
Someday. That is the dream, right? I would love that.
It might be boring. I don't know.
I don't know. Just sitting around and having ideas and letting other people do all the hard work. That sounds pretty awesome to me.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So next week, I'm headed back to Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When are you heading back?
We're heading back on. So wife and kids fly out Saturday, and I'll start the long drive home on Sunday.
Okay.
So we were supposed to be here another 2 weeks. So we've been here. This is now our 4th week in Vermont, and we're gonna do another 2 weeks. But we were going to change Airbnbs and go to like a different town. We were going to go to Reading or Reading. I don't know how to say it. Down by like Woodstock. And it's even more remote than where we are right now. And we just decided like, it's too much. It's too much with 2 2-year-olds to have no support system. And so, like, we gave it the old college try, and I'm super proud of us for like, hey, we've got 2-year-olds. Let's leave everything we know for 4 weeks. And so we just decided we're going to cancel the next Airbnb, and we're going to come on home. So, yeah, a little like, I feel really good about it. I feel like, I'm excited to go home. Like, I'm excited to go home, have like my house, my bed, my office. And the kids they've got YMCA, they've got little gym, they've got swim lessons, they've got grandparents, they've got cousins. Okay, so the whole support system thing is pretty real when you have kids. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. A lot of these things are, even vacationing in general, it's like you're going to have kids and go on vacation, it's going to be awesome. And it is like awesome at times, but there's like, I'll never forget we had one. So most years we go to Martha's Vineyard over the summer at some point, just for usually 1 to 2 weeks. This year we didn't, but usually we do. And this was like, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. No, or at least maybe 7 or 8 years ago. My daughter, who's the youngest, was like right in your age, like 2, 3, somewhere in there. She was like maybe just a little over 2, and she had just potty trained, or maybe she's 2.5 or whatever. And we go on vacation. We're in Martha's Vineyard. It's all beautiful, beaches, whatever, blah, blah. She decides she's not going to go to the bathroom anymore.
Oh,
she doesn't want to, and she doesn't like how it feels, and she's not doing it. So she's forcibly preventing herself from going to the bathroom. Has stomach pain, obviously, because she's refusing to go to the bathroom. And so we just spent this whole vacation with this kid who's refusing to go to the bathroom. And it's just like, oh my God, like this is not the relaxing, fairly expensive Martha's Vineyard vacation that like I was looking for here. So yeah,
Kids, man.
sometimes it's just, you just be home, you have all your stuff, at least if they're doing weird stuff, like everything else is normal. It's like, yeah, that was an exciting vacation.
That's a good
that
one. Yeah, that's a good one. That makes me feel better. That
there
really
you go.
does.
Go home.
Yeah, we're going home. We're going home. We actually
All right,
thought
so I guess-
we thought about potty training here, and then we decided like,
Yeah, I would wait on that.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing that.
Nah, the
So-
change of scenery causes
No.
weird things to
Exactly,
happen.
yeah.
Like people decide, you don't want them to get home and decide they don't want to go to
No.
the bathroom. Like you want to be home.
We'll train them on home turf and let it settle there. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that is a big moment though. So good luck with that, because if you
Yeah,
can get
thanks.
that done, that's especially with the other ones coming. It'll be nice to not have 4 that you're changing. That sounds
that would
like
be
nightmare
nice.
status there. So
It'd be nice to have just a little break of no diapers that we're changing.
yes, a
before
couple
the new
months
ones
of
come.
just
Yeah.
that'll be really nice. No diapers. That's a big moment.
Yeah.
Diapers are crazy. They're so expensive, and the whole
So
thing is nuts.
expensive. Whole thing, man. It's a scam.
All right, so I guess we'll figure out what we'll record in at some point. May have to give it maybe a little day
so
or
it's,
2 after, but no
27
problem.
27 hours to get home, so
It's a big drive.
drive most of Sunday and probably all day Monday, so we might have to catch a Tuesday episode next week.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, man.
All right.
Look
Well,
it
y'all
up.
send us some emails, and
Yeah.
we'll talk to you next time.
All right, later.
See ya.